pathetic earthlings. Who can save you now?
Flash! They'll kill you!
Let's all team up and fight him.
Prepare for torture!
I want him.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Alexa, stop. Oh my God. That's only available with Music Unlimited. Blah, 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 blah.
We can't play the music anyway. We'd have to pay a royalty or something. So that's neither here nor there. Aaron is here as well.
I'm here.
Should we start over? I don't know. Sweet Jesus.
It adds to the magic.
This week we'll be discussing the science fiction classic Flash Gordon, starring Max von Sydow and Topol. Isn't this bad boy?
Topol.
And
Deep
Timothy
Roy,
Dalton,
Kenny Baker.
Deep Roy and Kenny Baker, and Timothy Dalton's in this as well. It's an all-star cast.
And look at his fine ass self, I must say.
He's a good-looking guy. We didn't even mention who actually plays Flash Gordon because you wouldn't know him anyway.
I think he went directly into porn, like homemade porn, right after this.
It was straight Skinamax for old Sam J. Jones.
Yeah, only the skinniest.
Very sad. So give us the 30-second synopsis for Flash Gordon.
Not Flash Gordon.
No.
Don't get those two confused. You'll scare the kiddies.
Please.
So anyway, in the future, aliens...
No.
Oh, in the 80s?
In the present.
Well, clearly in the 80s, because this has such a reeking 80s flavor.
Yes.
So in our recent past,
right.
aliens, as they do, come to Earth to destroy us, as they do. But
yes.
They didn't know they were tangling with a football player for the Jets and a travel agent. And with their knowledge, were able to defeat the merciless Ming and bring order to the universe.
Well, don't forget the scientist, Dr. Hans Zarkov, formerly of NASA.
Yeah.
He's helping out.
I'd build a big dollhouse with rooms. Don't you know that? Okay. That's Topol's
Fiddler.
From Fiddler.
Fiddler on the Roof. Yes, good times.
Yeah.
There was a period.
Hans Zarkov does nothing to the story.
Well, without Hans Zarkov, the Earth is not in any peril. Is what we discover halfway
so you're
through the movie.
saying what I'm hearing, my brother, is that you are trying to find logic in the script. Is that what I heard correctly?
Well, no, because he says it. He said, "Okay, we're jumping right in." Ming the Merciless is talking to Dr. Hans Zarkov. And he basically says, Ming says, I like to go around and kind of mess with these planets.
Yeah.
Cause earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, just for fun.
He's a more dickish Q if you're into Star Trek Next Generation.
That's right. I just like to mess with people. Now, if they just write it off as just natural disasters, cool. But the moment they figure out that that it's actually a person who's doing this stuff to them, then I have to destroy the planet. So because Hans Zarkov figured out that all this crazy stuff was the work of Ming the Merciless, now we have to destroy Earth. So good times. If there was no Hans Zarkov, there's some earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, but everything's cool.
That's right.
There you go.
So the Russians didn't do so well with their pogroms because Topol winds up in the United States, causing the doom of the Earth almost.
That's what I'm saying. Almost, for God's sakes.
I gotta tell you, this movie starts off with a bang because I was already jaded from the god awful Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, you shut your damn mouth!
For some damn reason, I have never seen this movie, but I was a huge Queen fan, so I I heard the music, and the music samples lines from the story, ridiculous lines, but the beginning with the Queen song and the Brian May guitars and the flash, flash, flash. I mean, it was amazing. And then
all downhill.
And then it's all right to the dumpster after that. I'm like, it was as if they were someone directed the beginning, and then his lesser brother did the rest of it.
So you've never seen, we're skipped all over this stuff. So you had never seen this movie before?
No, but I was aware of it. This came out when I was in high school. I was aware of it because this song was on the radio.
Oh, of course. This is a big hit.
Flash. I mean, it's a great song.
Absolutely. I've seen this movie many times, almost to the point where there were times I had like remembrances of it, but it was so crappy production value. I was convinced it was like a TV show, like
Buck Rogers.
Like Buck Rogers. That's exactly what I thought on some level.
And quite frankly, Buck Rogers was a movie, and it had the equal production value of the TV show that it spun off.
Gil Gerard, Aaron Gray.
Aaron Gray. I always remember all the Aarons in Hollywood.
Absolutely. You remember Aaron Gray also, perhaps more famously from Silver Spoons.
No, because I didn't watch that shit. But little known trivia fact, I know the theme song from that.
Silver Spoons.
Not Silver Spoons. Buck Rogers.
Sing. I don't know.
Beyond this place I've known, far beyond my time. And then it was like, what am I? Where am I? Where have I been? Where am I going? And what will I find? Only the favorite. I mean, I can remember shit from TV from 40 years ago, but I'm not sure what I watched yesterday. This is the sign of getting older. I only can remember bullshit trivia, anything that will help me in my career or life. Gone.
Forget about it.
Gone.
Well, here's an interesting fact. I mean, Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon are basically the same damn thing. Really, it's a person from Earth.
Yeah.
You know, modern Earth goes into space and has to deal with all sorts of space.
Well,
crap,
that's the same as what was the stupid Jesus Christ, the superhero movie with the raccoon and the stick boy.
Oh yes. Star-Lord on the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Star-Lord,
same thing.
It's the same freaking thing, but
yes,
actually,
it's a tale as old as time.
Guardians of the Galaxy is Academy Award-winning quality over this.
First of all, not called Garden of the Galaxy. That's a different thing.
Guardian. You don't understand my Bakersfield accent because you're racist.
Well, we can even go further because Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon were originally like serials, like comic book serials from like the 30s and 40s and things like that. You can go even further back. Since we're getting deep.
They're probably comics, right? Or radio?
They were comics.
Radio shit?
They were comics. Originally comics, and then it became like radio and other media. But you can go even further back. There was a famous series of science fiction novels where John Carter from Mars, he was a Civil War
John Carter?
general. Yes, who goes to gets sucked up to Mars and has to deal with Martian, palace intrigue and things like that. So this is a reoccurring theme throughout literature. Check it out. It is real. Anywho, neither here nor there. This movie is ridiculous. I have a page and a half of notes. Are you ready for the highlights? Let's hit it.
I honestly wanted to compare it with Barbarella.
It definitely has a Barbarella type quality to it.
I was going to say, like Barbarella with less Italians, but that's not true. When I watched the ending, I mean, it was filmed in the UK, but it's Dino De Laurentiis, so it's everybody has an I at the end of their name. You're just missing that one dude with like the hair sweater. And Barbarella's fashion was much better.
Well,
Barbarella was a better movie.
Dubbing.
Boom.
You know what? I was going to say the bad dubbing, but that's not true either. We're going to talk about this and behind the scenes. Good Lord. Oh, sweet Jesus.
This
First question.
movie
Go
is
ahead.
pure camp. It is pure camp.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
like one of those, when I lived in the Bay Area, they used to have like this beach blanket Babylon. This would be a perfect drag queen production. It would be, I mean, there's so much vinyl and sparkly. I mean, RuPaul could do this upright. I mean, the soldiers are wearing sequin jock straps as part of their uniforms.
Yes.
That
ridiculous.
stuff was fantastic. How they got all these major stars in it, I don't know.
It is, well, they got to pay their bills too, is basically
I always
what it
say gambling or
down to.
drugs.
We have to jump in where it's like literally, okay, we're led to believe Flash is like a super famous athlete.
The Jets,
he's like
wasn't it?
The quarterback of the New York Jets.
Were they ever good?
And he gets... No, he's arguably the best quarterback they've ever had in my lifetime, sadly. So he gets onto like a private jet with just some kind of travel agent.
Because travel agents make that kind of money.
That was the weirdest thing of all. And meanwhile, the Earth is already coming to an end because Ming is like using his magic ring to cause earthquakes and something called hot hail.
Looks like meteorites.
Right. I literally Googled the term hot hail and found nothing. Like it's something they made up. I think they established like the moon is off its axis a little bit, and therefore like chunks of moon rock are falling on, I guess. There's no explanation. They just say hot hail.
So it's not hail at all. It's just meteorites.
It's not hail. Right. Destructive meteorites flopping around.
What's the opposite of destructive? Curative?
Curative?
It bounced
restorative?
you in the head, cured cancer. Bing!
That's exactly right. In the storm, they crash next to a crazy silo that insane scientist Hans Zarkov has created a rocket ship to go up to outer space to confront the aliens. God. Is that what we're supposed to think?
And apparently so. Before you go too far on that, did you notice that the travel agent and Flash are color? They are wearing the same colors.
Although I did notice that Flash was wearing a shirt that said Flash.
That's right. In case he gets lost, they could say, "You Flash."
That's right. It's a little much, Flash. Come on, we get it.
Shirt that says Kevin.
Please do. That'll be helpful. Oh, sweet Jesus. So Hans basically kidnaps Flash and what the hell is her name? Dale. So you know it's an old-fashioned thing. There's nobody named Dale anymore, by the way. Kidnaps him at gunpoint because he can't fly the rocket ship by himself. He needs somebody who designed this ship. He needs somebody to sit on the other side.
He can't fly.
Yes, somebody has to sit across from him and put their feet in these pedals, or they'll all be killed.
Some asshole assistant of his?
There was. He refused to go.
But he couldn't kidnap him.
He was all on board.
But he could kidnap. Why did he kidnap his assistant?
He tried to. He pulled the gun on the assistant. The assistant ran off just as Flash crashed his plane into the side of the building. So he's like, "Screw it! I'll grab these two instead." Basically, it's a horror show. Now, when he gets to space, I have to ask, why doesn't space look like space? Why does it look like crazy, like psychedelic?
That was probably some of the best stuff in this thing. This whole time I'm watching this is either designed for small children or people straight tripping.
Yes.
Like, I went to the Grateful Dead concert, but I was still too wired to go to bed, so I'm going to go see this movie. You're straight tripping. This is a psychedelic
That's what it is. It is the weirdest thing you'll ever see. So they get up in the rocket ship and fly up to Mongo, which is the planet
have to keep the original names, Mongo and Ming. I mean, I like Ming the Merciless, but then they also tried to make him Chinese.
I honestly, I don't know
think
what
Dr.
It's Max
Seuss
von Sydow.
is calling us back, you know.
It's something. Oh, God. Cancel it. Cancel it. Inappropriate.
What would Tucker Carlson say about this? It needs to be conserved. Oh.
Tucker Carlson loves this movie. Sad to say. Then there's this bizarro scene where it's like Flash like does football with the palace guards
because
or something.
He's such a meathead. You can't say just go fight. Pretend we have to say, okay, pretend this football. You run, hit people, knock down.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Knock down. Is he Chaka?
He's one step. He's a shaved down Chaka. That's what he is.
It's true. They'd already established that Ming is like a ruthless murderer. He just stabbed this dude in front of everybody. Everybody's terrified of Ming the Merciless.
I do want that ring, though. It's like a monkey and a red ball. I want that. Put that on my Amazon list.
It's a monkey and a red ball. Yes. Clearly. So he's fighting like in bizarre fashion, like 15 of these palace guards who don't have weapons. I don't know what they're doing. While Dale is literally cheering "Go Flash, go" from the sideline. It's a horror show.
And it's all slow motion and but not on purpose. Like we didn't practice enough, so we have to. It's like they meant to speed it up to look natural, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a horror story. It truly is. Go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, I got something. At one point, they're wearing these Masonic Devo glasses. Those are fantastic. I'm doing a Google search.
Did you see that?
Yes. There was a Masonic, like the compass, but otherwise, it was straight up Devo glasses.
Yes. Well, these guys who like worked the computer consoles in the control room all had crazy like glasses.
I just found out that the glowing ring is a seizure trigger.
Well, it's flashing lights. Flashing lights.
Remember, because it was the Powerpuff Girls. Okay. Remember that? That was because it would like it would have the fast flickering lights, and people would just. I think they did a Simpson where Bart was just laying on the floor seizuring.
Oh my God! It's a horror story.
Classic, my friend. I love that I put Flash at one point was wearing like the leather bikini that was right out of Rocky Horror. Like the creature had a gold one,
absolutely,
but Flash had like a silver one. And then at one point he's fighting Timothy Dalton, and quite frankly, I wasn't sure who I was rooting for. But it was the
Prince Baron,
the Moon Door from Game of Thrones.
From Game of
Thrones.
Make
him fly, Mommy. Make him fly. It was basically like a more trippy Doctor Who. Not current Doctor Who.
It was.
Like older Doctor Who. Same production value.
Yep.
More camp. More camp than Doctor Who.
Well, they had those crazy lizard people who it's like their faces were inside their mouths for some reason. That was right out of Doctor Who, where it's just like who designed this? What kind of man? And they kept Lizard Man. There is no escape. Oh,
at
Jesus.
first, I didn't realize who old Max was playing, and the voice I really thought was Terrence Stamp. I'm like, blimey, it's the Limey.
Not Terrence Stamp.
Only it was.
But as you know, he played General Zod in the Superman movies.
He's immortal. Is he still alive? He must be 700 years old.
At least. For openers. What else we got here?
The Ming the Merciless ring with like the monkey for sale even on Pinterest. I feel very sad now. Continue on.
So Flash avoids death because evil Princess Aura is warm for a storm, basically. And basically, at one point she says, do what I want and I'll build us a palace built for two. And I kept thinking, what the hell is a palace built for two?
And it's not like one of those tiny houses, but it's like if you made it from Legos. But like a castle. There you go.
Clearly. Sweet Jesus. There's a bizarre scene where Zarkov gets his brain wiped and essentially becomes a secret agent because he's been brainwashed by Ming.
But he was
Merciless.
faking it? Is that my understanding?
It's almost like they didn't know what they were going for. It was like he was totally in Ming's thrall. And then the moment he gets out the door, he's like, no, I was just pretending. I'm good. I was thinking about Beatles lyrics. So somehow the brainwashing didn't affect me.
All right, John Lennon.
Okay. Is that how it works?
That.
And not to mention Dale, when she escapes from her love shack, is like doing flips and like kung fu and shooting people. It was the craziest thing.
Problematic that she's drugging a slave to get raped in her place.
Yes. I was thinking about that. Yes,
you're great. You're awesome.
Right. That was good thinking. Well, okay. For people who don't understand what the hell's happened, so Ming sends Flash to be killed, but he keeps Dale as to be his new wife, essentially. And earlier they established if you drink from this, it helps to make those tender moments with Ming more palatable.
It made no sense because they had her drink this whole thing. She passes out, wakes up with a hangover, and so it hadn't even happened yet. Why'd you get her drunk before? And then the lady comes back. This is where the slave comes in. Master's on his way. You better drink up because it's going to be like effing Donald Trump or something. So you better sedate yourself.
Right. So, but she says, hey, why don't you drink this? Slave's like, cool. Sounds good. Has no one else ever tried this before? Not. And then you're right. Knocks her out, leaves her for Ming to find. And I have to say, the slave girl was pretty hot.
And I find it fascinating.
She was prettier than Dale, frankly.
Dale Arden. What a crazy name.
Eve Arden.
Like that. Something like that. I find it fascinating with the number of slaves that he would even recognize it. I mean, who it is or anything.
Right.
Yeah. And the slave doesn't notice that she is sleeping with a pillow over her face.
Just put this pillow over your face.
None the wiser. Cool. It was very disgusting as he's running his hand up her thighs. I was like, are we going in it right now? Is this what's happening? I was like,
this is how it works. Well, he unsnaps his huge, wrestling belt off, and you just know, what are we watching?
Now it's going
what dark turn have we gone under?
they merged them together.
Oh, it's a horror show. It's a horror show.
What else? I got all kinds of problematic things. Like, what about the Hawks?
Go for it. Hit me.
Why are they always climbing things and walking around? You got wings. Fly.
That is true. Yes. With Voltan, played by Brian Blessed, who I kept thinking, do I know this? I mean, this guy seems famous to me, and I couldn't find anything that I would have seen him in other than Flash
I remember him from Blackadder, because I loved Blackadder. But it's that.
Well, there you go.
No, he's been in some other shit that you've seen. But
well, we're going to have to look. He's not Pavarotti. He looks like Pavarotti.
And he kind of looks like the guy who played Robert Baratheon, but this guy is much more, more, laugh hearty, kind of the fun fat guy. He kind of looks like Father Christmas.
We all love that guy.
That's what he looks like, with the big full beard and the big laugh that rocks the whole body.
Yes. Okay, so Flash flees to Arborea, where the tree people live, with Prince Baron, played by Timothy Dalton. And there was some bizarro, rite of initiation that some dude had to
like
go
a
through.
Scorpion and a tree stump?
Yes, there's a giant tree stump with like 1 million different holes in it. And this kid sticks his hand in it and is immediately killed. Immediately stung. 5 minutes later, Flash and Prince Baron put their hand in about 20 times and have no problems whatsoever. So was the first guy just really unlucky?
Unlucky,
Is that
my friend?
It just wasn't meant to be.
I
If
mean,
that's
it was
what happens,
stupid.
say
And
la vie.
then Timothy Dalton kind of messes with you, and now you just keep doing it until you get stung. Kind of a situation. Yeah.
Well, and there's that scene right before the first guy sticks his hand in the stump. Everybody is all around the stump, moaning and thumping. Did you notice that?
Were they
kind of a
thumping?
bizarre.
I get knocked down.
They were doing something because they each had like a staff and thumping it in like they were churning butter while moaning. I was like, what the hell is happening? All I kept
thinking was, Timothy Dalton, you were in The Lion and Winter. That's all I could. With Peter
That's
O'Toole,
all you were thinking.
With what's her name, and here you are now. You were James Bond.
I know. You were James. Well,
Right.
He later became James Bond.
Yes.
This is before that. This is what had them saying, "Hey, how about Timothy Dalton for James Bond? We like him moaning and
I
thumping."
never did why Timothy Dalton wasn't more popular. He's a fine actor. He's just as good as Pierce Brosnan, but he's cuter than Pierce.
Well,
Pierce is like very thin and kind of effeminate.
Here were the issues.
Right.
Since we're going down this road, he was only in 2 movies, and the second one was lousy, and then there was like a 6-year layoff. So, but when there were time to start making new ones again, he was like,
well,
I'm
and really,
things.
that had more to do with the writing, and maybe he shouldn't have signed on because acting wise, he's solid. I mean, he's great. He's
great.
God damn it! It's not the one where he's the supermarket dude with the guy from Game of Thrones.
The one where he's the supermarket
where they're killing all the
dude from Game of Thrones.
with the guy from Shaun of the Dead. Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. Okay,
I had
yes.
to verbally
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Otherwise, it's just
this is the worst description I've
How
ever heard.
about when he's the
Yes.
Hound is also in that from Game of Thrones.
You would but does not look like the Hound. You'd never know. More recently, since we're doing cast for some reason, Timothy Dalton was on that show, Penny Dreadful, which I liked quite a bit. I think it was on Showtime, and now it's on Netflix.
Brian Blessed
so you can
was
check
in
that
Star
out.
Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Okay. Phantom Menace doesn't count?
It
I don't count
count
those
as
movies.
a movie you may have seen. But plus, he was in all those Kenneth Branagh
No.
movies when old Kenneth was on that fever pitch of doing everything Shakespeare before he blew up his marriage doing Frankenstein. Back when he thought he was hot shit.
Yeah, he thought he was Sir Lawrence Olivier.
And then he fell off
He was mistaken.
the planet.
Very sad. Later in the movie, when Dale's about to get married to Ming the Merciless, and they play literally the Earth Bridal March.
Maybe.
Oh, really? This is what they do on this planet? Do you have the
don't
ring?
even know this. Maybe this is like a universal little ditty.
Could be. Who's to say? Who's to say? Anything else you want to say about Flash Gordon? This movie is nonsense. That's what I want to say.
It's ridiculous. It's camp as fuck. So if you can enjoy that, you will enjoy that. How about this? Hawkmen versus people in starships. That seems unlikely.
Yes.
So the Death Star's coming at you, and it's like the Ewoks are going to fight the Death Star. That's not going to turn out well.
Well, this is where it gets kind of fishy, because I'm assuming this is space, but Flash is riding around on like a rocket sled. He doesn't have a
Are you
space
saying
suit on or
there's no
anything.
air in space?
He's just out in space. That is what I'm saying, as a matter of fact.
That's an old Simpson line I ripped.
That's a good point.
There's an air and space museum.
You son of a...
That's all I have. I mean, it's campy
sweet
costumes.
Jesus.
It's nonsense. This
Yes.
is great for
total
young
nonsense.
kids or people or college students. Let's say that. How about that? I'll give it to you. It's great for college students.
If you have the memento illness where you cannot remember anything, this is perfect for you. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, let's go. Are you ready for behind the scenes? All the main cast members were signed for multiple films.
They thought this was going to take
but
off,
because the
right?
first
They
movie
thought
sucked.
it's going to be Flash Gordon part 29, like it's going to be Jason. Is that what they thought?
Yes. They thought, They thought this was going to be the new Star Wars. They were going to do better than Star Wars. They were mistaken. Sam J. Jones was a former Playgirl model hired to be Flash Gordon. And he had such issues with the producers and with the director and all sorts of stuff that he basically went home for Christmas and never came back. So he wasn't available for like the dubbing. So the voice you hear is not even his voice. They hired a different actor to do the voice.
Do they normally have to?
Very sad.
You have to redub your own voice?
Well, no, he just basically bailed 3/4 through
he had that
production.
Playgirl thing
So if there
going
were
on?
some issues that he had that Playgirl thing going on with his 70s hair. It was basically like, well, just in a normal process, there's some dubbing you might have to do here or there. And because he wasn't available for some of it, they just had to redo the whole thing. Yeah, very sad. Needless to say, he didn't work much after this. Illegitimate film.
theater.
Let's just say that. That's right. Ming's costume weighed over 70 pounds, and crusty old Max Sydow could only stand in it for a few minutes before it got to be overwhelming. Very sad. George Lucas wanted to make the Flash Gordon movies, and he was blocked by Universal. I think Universal owned the rights to it or something. So he said, well, I'll just have to make my own. He made Star Wars. Yeah. And then obviously this company came out and said, well, hey, since Star Wars did so well, let's do the Flash Gordon movie. Wah, wah, wah. We didn't even talk about the bizarro whip fighting
I'm telling
scene
you, everything is
that
like you're in a
occurs
fetish
over
club
the...
with this thing.
It is! It's skin tight leather pants and then whips. Who came up with this?
I know. Is this a John Waters presentation?
It might as well be. Sam Jones has dark hair and they bleached it blonde. And Melody Anderson, who played Dale, has blonde hair and they bleached it and they dyed it brown for some reason.
All right,
There
I found
you go.
another
Good
Brian
times.
Blessed reference. Doctor Who. He was in the 86 series. He was in multiple episodes of Doctor Who. So there you have it.
Well, there you go.
Continue on.
Good times.
Deep Roy.
Let's see. Deep Roy plays Princess Aura's pet. A slave on a leash. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of... Could be. It's a horror story.
You remember him from
This was
Neverending
obviously...
Story and the Oompa
He was in
Loompas.
Neverending. He's the dude who rode the snail. Yes, he was.
Yes.
Well, he was in the new one, right? He wasn't in old school Oompa.
He is all the Oompa Loompas in the new one.
That is correct. The crazy character Kaleidos
is that
who's like Ming's Kaleidos. He might as well be called Kaleidos. He was a dude who had like the metal face. He's not in any of the comic strips. They made him up entirely
Max
for the
can walk
show.
around with the suits, so they need somebody to do the heavy lifting.
They
It's dark. It's fake Darth
did.
Vader.
It's a sad
It's
situation.
Disco Darth.
13 actors in this movie were also involved in James Bond movies in one way or
Timothy
another.
Dalton.
I'm not gonna list all 13. Timothy Dalton was obviously James Bond. Max von Sydow played Blofeld in Never Say Never Again. Topol was in For Your Eyes Only, for God's sake. Yes. Topol, okay. Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof had this bizarre little thing, like from 79 to 81, where he was in a handful of big ticket, like Hollywood movies. And this was one, and For Your Eyes Only.
Well, the
was
most
another.
fascinating thing is he appears to be 20 years younger than when he was in Fiddler on the Roof. Plus, he looks like he's about 40 pounds lighter.
Right. Well, he was like Fiddler on the Roof. He started doing it like in the 60s, and he just kept on doing it. And he's still doing it.
I was shocked
Maybe not.
when I saw him that he looked so young and trim. I only remember him from Fiddler on the Roof, but I think he was like an exodus. He was huge in his day, you know. He's Israeli, so he did all this.
Yes. The first Israeli nominated for an Academy Award. So there you go. The food in the Hawkman's Kingdom were just Twinkies colored with food dye.
You forgot Kenny Baker.
It's important. I'm not going through this. This is still behind the scenes.
I can't even tell what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about Twinkies. Go ahead.
It's hopeless. The director Mike Hodges called it the only improvised $27 million movie ever made because of all the crazy production problems.
It was like Seinfeld gone wrong, like with people who don't know how to improvise, because that's what all the acting and the dialogue sounded like.
The Hawkmen couldn't sit down because their costumes would hurt their back. So when they wanted to rest, they had to
they didn't have one of those
on the floor.
stools like in the oldie days.
I guess that won't work.
Oh my God,
can't do it. In the comics, Flash was a polo player, not a quarterback for the New York Jets. Because that kind of tells you what was big back when these comics
clearly
were being written.
An elitist thing. You know, football's the everyman. Who the hell's playing polo? Yep. That's only the wealthy.
He's like Yale or some crap. It could be. There is a considerable language barrier on set due to having English and Italian crews. So there you go. Good Lord. Well, here's another thing. The very name Flash kind of harkens back to a bygone era. You know what I mean? Because it was a nickname to mean like, look how athletic you are. We're going to call you Flash. No one does that. No one does. Well, my wife mixes up the two. She thinks Flash Gordon was a superhero. I'm like, no.
What's the difference between a hero and a superhero? How is
Flash Gordon
different than one of these superheroes that like the people who aren't mutants?
The Flash,
where it's their costume or something else that gives them this.
Flash is kind of
how is he different
Flash
than
Gordon? He's not. The difference is that Star-Lord says, I have a fancy superhero nickname. Call me Star-Lord. Where Flash Gordon just like, they called me Flash when I was playing polo. Just because I'm a good polo player, I guess. Right? I mean, aren't you on a horse?
Maybe
when you play
polo.
Okay, anywho. Who knows? He could. Maybe it was ironic. I don't know. Who knows what the story is? It's a very sad situation. That's about it. Who gives a damn? Should we talk about the cast? We talked about them ever so briefly. Sam J. Jones was Flash Gordon, obviously known for Flash Gordon. He was also in Ted, where he plays himself.
Oh, God.
That Mark
I never
Wahlberg
saw that. Looked
movie.
disturbing.
Yeah. He was in something called Jane and the Lost City and something called Code Red, which is
No,
I guess, a TV
I don't.
series. You know it, don't you? No, we don't. Melody Anderson played Dale Arden, number one on the list, Flash Gordon. She was also in a movie called Firewalker with Chuck Norris and Battlestar Galactica in 1979.
Battlestar Galactica.
So there you go.
Not the new one.
Max von Sydow. Max von Sydow. Shockingly, the number one thing on the list is Flash Gordon.
Wasn't he in, like,
yes,
the
I don't know what the hell's going on here. That's number two on the list. Ingmar Bergman's masterpiece. Minority Report. It doesn't even mention. I mean, you have to scroll down to find The Exorcist, which is a horror show, and Strange Brew also
Strange
not
Brew.
mentioned. Very upsetting. Topol. His real name is Chaim Topol. His name I think his name means like the cherry tree or something in Israeli. I don't know.
I'm not. It is Israeli.
He, obviously,
language?
Fiddler on the Roof.
It is now.
There you go. It is now. Oh, sweet Lord. Fiddler on the Roof, Flash Gordon for Your Eyes Only. Something called Sala from 1964. You know, don't you? Timothy Dalton.
The Lion in Winter.
All the James Bond movies. Not The Lion and Wilter. I'm going to call it The Lion and Wilter. Here's a character that if you blink, you'll miss him. Prince Baron's,
he's in the mafia
his
now?
sidekick, who goes and tries to trick. Yes. The guy who goes down to the cage to try to say, hey, Flash, I can get us out of here.
I did not.
Did you recognize him? He is Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I am looking that bullshit
Shocking.
up.
Yes.
I have to see this.
Look
Do I
it up.
Google Riff Raff in Buck Rogers?
His real name is Richard O'Brien, and the movie's called Flash Gordon, not Buck Rogers, for the 1,000th time. While you do that, I'm going to keep looking. The guy who played Zogi the High Priest, he was he was in The Shining as the guy who said, I corrected my daughter, and when my wife tried to interfere, I corrected her as well.
I would have.
He's
You
the guy who
just
marries her.
won't recognize him
Yep.
with clothes on. He looks exactly the same. He doesn't have a top knot, and he's not marching around
No, he does
in
not.
some plastic outfit. He's dressed as a regular person. Well, he's
bald or
anyway.
something. He's bald either. If you look him up, he's been in a ton of stuff. He's the hardest working man in show business. You just think because he doesn't always look like crazy old riffraff staggering around.
I
you
think
think
he
hasn't
wrote
been working
like
in 30
Rocky
years.
Horror, didn't he? Yeah.
He did. He's the primary voice.
All right.
Now, here's another bizarre cameo. There's a guy who hands Dale Arden her luggage when she's getting on the plane. That actor is none other than Robbie Coltrane. You know him as Hagrid
if
from
you're a British
Harry Potter.
procedural detective show.
He was also Gooby in the movie
never
Gooby.
heard of that.
If you like that as
Gooby
well.
is
Check it
something
out.
that a child picks out of its nose.
It could be.
Kenny
Let's talk
Baker!
about our ratings. Are you ready? He
In the
was
scene,
one
there's
of the
literally,
dwarves. I don't know.
as you're
What did he
looking
do?
at the cast, it just says like the dwarves or the midgets, and there's like 20 people, and I see Kenny Baker, who you remember from R2D2, Willow, and Time Bandits. Dwarf.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's listed as dwarf. He, you know him as because he was literally shoved into R2D2. Basically, he's the person that they
So
shoved
they're
into
like,
the canister
dude,
that is
either this will
R2D2
make you
in
famous
the
or
Star
it's your
Wars
coffin.
movies. Or it's your coffin. It's very sad. Let's talk about our ratings. It currently has, this is shocking to me. I saw this, I fell out of my chair. 83%.
It's got to be
Rotten
from
Tomatoes.
our
Impossible.
It has to be from our gay friends.
Impossible.
It needs to be staged. It needs to be a musical, if it isn't already.
It needs to be forgotten, is what I think you're trying to say. So what is your rating for Flash Gordon?
Don't make me laugh. The Camp-O-Meter. So, out of degrees of camp,
yes,
I'm going to give it 3.5.
Yes.
Dead Kenny Bakers in a coffee can.
Oh no! Poor Kenny Baker.
The Camp-O-Meter.
Don't do that to him.
Watch it only if you are on altered substance or if you are 6 years old. The only occasion.
That's the only occasion.
Otherwise,
you
it
can
could
watch
be
it.
fatal to your health.
It could be. I'm going to give it. Let's say. Oh, sweet Jesus! I'm going to give it 4 out of 10. Bizarre drugging, poor slave girls left alone by
me
Dylan.
Too. Hashtag me too.
It is. I mean, exactly. It was basically Bill Cosby.
That's right. It's one of those
working
final
behind the
scenes
scenes.
where Dale
Very
rips
upsetting.
her face off, and it's Bill Cosby underneath, and then he rips it one more time, and it's Harvey Weinstein.
It's a horror show. It is. I mean, it's not boring by any stretch of the imagination. It's
watch
just
it with your coffee in the morning.
Low.
This is you've come home from the bars.
Definitely not.
Sleep. You say, I'm going to fire this up because Aaron and Kevin says this is the prime time for me to watch it, and you will enjoy it then.
You will enjoy it then. So there you have it. Thank you very much. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Email us at ThePodcastThatWouldn'tDie at Gmail. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc., etc., etc. And Aaron, you are on social media as well.
On the Insta and the Twitskis.
So check it out. There you have it. And be well.
Keep wearing your damn mask.